You're watching Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. It's semifinal action of the Puerto Rico tip-off from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, as the Boise State Broncos take on the Illinois State Redbirds with a trip to the championship game on the line. Both teams winning close contests into the quarterfinals to get to this point. Redbirds upset South Carolina. Boise came back from a double-digit deficit to beat UTEP. Alongside LaFonso Ellis, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Fonz, Illinois State undermanned coming into this tournament, but they have a stat sheet stuffer in Malik Yarbrough.
A tremendous playmaker. Is really good getting in the gaps, can shoot that 15-foot mid-range J, and is an excellent passer. 18, 6, and 6 yesterday. They're going to need him to be big today as a facilitator.
And on the other side for the Broncos, they feature a John Wooden Award nominee in Chandler Hutchison.
Only 1 of 12 into the last 2 minutes of this game. These 2 layups and the free throw sealed the deal. Hutchison's going to have to be huge for the Broncos.
You get the feeling coming into this contest, the semifinals, that the Illinois State Redbirds are playing with house money right now, having picked off the SEC's South Carolina Gamecocks in Game 1. They'll be wearing their Road Red uniforms, the home whites for Boise State. Your officials are Ron Groover, Rod Dixon, and Rick O'Neill, and we are ready for our first semifinal from the Puerto Rico tip-off in Myrtle Beach. Possession's going to go to the Redbirds. Here's Keyshawn Evans, number 3 in red, bringing it up.
Which I'd like to see Illinois State go inside out, try to get Phil Fain involved. If not, get it to Yarbrough early.
Early is right. Yarbrough, his first shot of the game is good.
I love when teams establish the post early, because now you can start to play inside out. The key defensively for Illinois State, who played 2-3 zone all day yesterday, they're in man today because they're concerned about the three-point capability of Boise State, averaging 12 made threes per game so far in the season.
Here's Alex Hobbs, 34 in white. The star of the team, Chandler Hutchison, his first shot is off the mark. As you said, he was just 3 for 14 in their opening round win against UTEP yesterday. Leon Rice is going to have to make sure that his star player, Chandler Hutchison, gets touches early to get his confidence back. Phil Fain misses that one, and Hutchison has the rebound and brings it up.
Thought that last possession they should have gone back to Yarbrough, who scored the first basket there, but clearly they're trying to establish the low post early in this game.
Leon Rice has built a program based on consistent success. And speaking of success, Chandler Hutchison's going to go to the line after a successful attempt and have a chance at a three-point play. That's a great sign for Leon Rice.
After his NBA evaluation, they said he needed to learn to go left, and left he did. What a beautiful crossover move to create that gap to his left, and with his size, length, and athleticism, only needs a couple strides to get to the front of that rim. Beautifully executed here early by Hutchison.
The preseason player of the year in the Mountain West Conference completes the three-point play, and Boise's up 1 with 18:40 to go. There's a corner 3. Off the mark, Fain gets the weak side rebound. There's a look inside, and it's partially blocked, and Hutchison comes away with it. And look at him lead the break for the Broncos. Senkfelder, he can hit that shot, and he does. Christian Senkfelder came into this tournament 7 for 15 from 3, knocks one down.
And folks, the 3 ball is going to be very important for Boise State. They have 5 guys that shoot 40% or better in the rotation from 3.
Illinois State in major rebuild mode after a record-breaking year a year ago. Set the program record for wins in a season with 28. Had a share of the regular season Missouri Valley title with now departed Wichita State. Dan Muller felt his team got snubbed from an NCAA bid. We'll have more on that coming up later. And Senkfelder goes from outside to inside, showing the repertoire early.
Well, I love what they're doing here early. They're trying to go at Yarbrough, because if they can get Yarbrough in some foul trouble, the offense changes tremendously for Illinois State.
There's Malik Yarbrough. In their first game of the year against Florida Gulf Coast, a loss, he went for 8 points, 8 rebounds, and 10 assists. And he almost messed around and got another triple-double yesterday, 18, 6, and 6.
His versatility is impressive. But I think that's a good move by Boise State, is he's guarding Sangfelder. Sangfelder can't just be a jump shooter today. He's got to use that girth and that mass to go at Yarbrough on the offensive end.
Graduate transfer Sangfelder from Fordham, where he started all 3 years. 93 games for Sangfelder, so an experienced player coming over to Boise State. After the Redbirds open the scoring with the first bucket of the game, it's been 7 straight from the Bronx. There's Lexus Williams, speaking of grad transfers. He came over this year from Valpo. Sangfelder, not this time. Here's Keyshawn Evans. He can fill it up in a hurry too.
And he's going to need to with Yarbrough on the bench here early. He's going to have to be very aggressive, trying to get down in the lane, create opportunities for his teammates. But when he gets looks, he's got to take them.
Pulls his way to the basket and gets the first 2 of the afternoon.
That's good offense for Illinois State.
Evans had 17 in their upset win against South Carolina yesterday. Zach Haney in the post, double teamed and fouled. That's going to go on Isaac Gassman, his first foul.
Well, when you know it's going to be a double team, you can't give up a foul in that situation. You got to close down on the post player there while being aware of getting back to the guy on the wing. That was a poor defensive possession there by Illinois State.
Williams down low, and another three-point opportunity for Chandler Hutchison.
Well, Rich, the one thing we knew coming into this game today is after a poor shooting performance yesterday that Hutchison was going to come dialed in on the offensive end. Look at this little cut here. No awareness there by Keyshawn, allowing him to be able to step in the front. You never want to allow a cutter to go in front of your face. You want to bump them and make them go behind. Poor defensive execution there by Illinois State.
Misses the chance of the three-point play, but the smallest player on the floor, Williams, gets it. And Chandler Hutchison knocks down the conventional three-pointer. Chandler Hutchison has come to play, an early 7 points, giving Boise State a 12-4 lead with 16:51 to go. Back inside the HTC Center on the campus of Coastal Carolina University alongside LaFonso Ellis, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Hey, in your playing days, you were a big man who could step out and hit the mid-range J. I don't know about three-pointers, but that's what Chandler Hutchison can certainly do. He's got the full offensive repertoire.
He's showing it all here this morning. We've seen him at the rim, we've seen him off the bounce, and now knocking down a three. That's big problem here for Illinois State.
There's a catch and fire three by Gassman, the former walk-on, knocks down a triple.
Anytime you're playing against an aggressive defense, when you can get some dribble penetration, everyone comes. Look to the opposite side of the floor. Well executed there by the Redbirds.
One thing I've learned in my years in this profession, listening to guys like you sit next to me, you can tell a lot about a coach by how their team performs out of timeouts. We've seen Dan Muller's Redbirds execute offensive plays very well out of timeouts.
They really do a nice job of screening the weak side of the floor, which creates those open opportunities.
4 minutes gone by. Here's Gassman, who knocked down that last three. Evans gets in the paint. Another teardrop from Keyshawn Evans, who has 4.
Well, we said earlier with Malik Yarbrough, number 52 in red, out of the game, that Keyshawn Evans had to be aggressive. He's being aggressive here now, and that's really good for the Redbirds.
Williams. Here's Hutchison. Lexus Williams knocks down the three. He was held scoreless against UTEP in 14 minutes played. He's already got 3 today. Against
man, it's allowed Hutchison to be able to get downhill, and you got to pay some attention to him, and he's an excellent passer. Beautifully executed there by Boise State.
It's a good sign again for this Broncos offense. Lexus Williams came in just 20% from three-point range. Hits his first 3-ball attempt today. It's a 15-9 Boise State lead, looking to remain undefeated on the season. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Visit Myrtle Beach. Go to visitmyrtlebeach.com to plan your vacation. And by Gildan. Love your dad, but don't wear his underwear. Gildan, every thread counts. And by Domino's. Oh, yes, we did. Boise State's Chandler Hutchison off to a great start, 3 for 5 from the field. Put his name in the NBA draft this past summer, Fonz, and decided to come back to Boise State for another year. What does he have to work on to get to that next level?
Well, one of the things that the NBA evaluators talk to him about is working on that left hand, and we've already seen him make a right to left little crossover to get to the front of the rim. And they asked him to become a more consistent three-point shooter. We've seen him knock down a three, and to continue to put on some muscle and add some strength. And you can see he came in, folks, about 175 pounds. He's put on about 25 pounds since then. That young fella's been spending some time in the weight room. He looks better than you, Rich.
And there are a number of NBA scouts in the building. Certainly Chandler Hutchison is number 1 on the must-see list for people like Glenn Rice, a former sharpshooter himself back in the day.
He used to give me absolute nightmares having to guard that guy.
Here's Hutchison taking it strong again. Well, the jump shot might not be working the way he wants it to, but the inside game certainly is.
But you know what? The inside game opens up the outside. The more he can get easy baskets going to the rim, as we've seen early, he's going to be able to giving him more confidence to be able to knock down the perimeter J as Beniga misses one from the top.
8 points early for Hutchison. Robin George, the big man, offensive. We're going the other way. Let's take a look at Chandler Hutchison in action.
Well, he's doing a great job of coming off of screens, and even in isolation situations, he is taking a straight drive line to the basket, and he's improved his strength, so now he's able to take the bump and finish. He's gotten off to a tremendous start today. The 2-3 zone here, Malik Yarbrough, they've got to get it to him at that free throw line area. He's an excellent playmaker. You can't just pass the ball around the perimeter. Got to get something going downhill.
10 on the shot clock. Here's Yarbrough back in the game. Got fouled, and Malik Yarbrough will go to the line. Chandler Hutchison, we got to spend some time with him before this tournament started, and he said Paul George is the guy that he models his game after, and I think that's an appropriate association when you talk about him trying to get to that next level.
Well, you talk about their length, similar builds, and again, folks, he's not him. I hate when they make honest comparisons to pro players, but you talk about type of body, mentality, attack game, it's all there. And that was what a beautiful representation of both of those guys. And what a nice picture. I mean, both of them so long, smooth, able to get to the rim. But he's got to continue to stay in that weight room to get strong.
Hutchison, aggressive. Alex Hobbs could be a big-time scorer. He's yet to get in the scoring column, but he gets the assist on the Marcus Dickinson bucket. Dickinson had a career game yesterday, 13 points, 4 for 5 from 3 against UTEP. He's got his first 2 today.
Well, this is a team that relies heavily on the three-point shot, but what we've seen here early is dribble drive to the basket, getting to the rim, and they're making beautiful cuts, getting behind that defense. Illinois State's going to have to step up, load the strong side of the floor to take away those easy cuts to the basket. But the offensive execution from Boise State has been crisp in the early goings.
Illinois State getting a taste of their own medicine. They beat South Carolina yesterday with that 2-3 zone. Now they're facing it against Boise State. Nice look down low. And one opportunity with Phil Fain.
And folks, we talk all the time about against 2-3 zones, how important it is to get that basketball into the free throw line area. And the guy that you'd like to get it to is Malik Yarbrough, because he's a great 15-foot jump shooter, but has excellent vision as well. Phil Fain moving across that baseline beautifully to receive that pass. Looks like they waved off the bucket and felt like it was on the ground. I thought that should have been an and one.
Oh, I agree with you. So it remains an 18-12 Boise State lead. Madison Williams, 25 in red, gives it up. Jerron Martin tries for three, no good. And here come the Broncos looking to push. Hobbs to the hole, no. Senkfelder the rebound, and that gets blocked. Wide open look from the corner. Senkfelder knocks down another triple. Third three of the game for the 6'9" senior out of Germany.
This team prides itself on being an elite passing team, and we've seen just that here in the early opening of this game.
Nice. Dish inside. Once again, Phil Fain down low, and he'll go to the line and shoot two this time.
Folks, in talking to Coach Leon Rice, he wants his team to be an elite passing team. Watch this ball pop around on the horn there, and Senkfelder, a very capable three-point shooter, coming into this tournament with shooting 47% from three. The big fella not only can play on the low post, but he's an excellent jump shooter as well.
Certainly Leon Rice is not the only one to do this, but he was telling us during practices they put X's on the floor around the three-point arc to demonstrate and instill in his team how important spacing is for their offense to be effective. And he says if they step a foot to one side of the X or a foot to the other side, he says no, the X is there because that's exactly where you're supposed to be.
The reason is on rotations, you want the defensive player to have to run as far as possible, which creates opportunities to be able to shoot the basketball before the contest gets there. More of an NBA concept, 15 to 17 feet away from the passer.
Now some defensive pressure applied by Dan Muller's Redbirds. His calling card is defense, always has been in his 5 seasons with the school that he graduated from.
And that was my concern, Rich. I was just getting ready to say that when you're in that 2-3 zone against this team that's an elite level three-point shooting team, you give them some clean looks, it could be devastating.
Justinian Jessup wears number 3 for that very reason. He is a three-point sniper. That three ball no good, but Matt Hine gets his own rebound. Loose ball, and it's going to be a jump ball. It'll be Boise State basketball. 11:43 to go. Illinois State down by 15, and it's a be careful what you wish for scenario for Dan Muller. He wanted big-time games. He's got them. Well, the Illinois State Redbirds had the best record in their program history a year ago, 28-7 and 17-1 in conference, and yet they got snubbed from the NCAA tournament. The day before the announcement, Dan Muller took to Twitter with the Bitmojis saying, big day. I think Dayton's a beautiful place this time of year, thinking he'd be one of the first 4 teams. Lo and behold, they were NIT bound. So we went back to Twitter to challenge all the power conference schools to schedule a home and home with his Redbirds club. Well, lo and behold, social media worked, Fonz. They have got a bear of a non-conference schedule, including games at Nevada. They're going to be at BYU, and yes, they scheduled a home and home at Ole Miss as well before they open up Missouri Valley play on December 23rd at Evansville.
And not to mention they beat South Carolina, which South Carolina in the end, that's going to be a resume building win because South Carolina, though young and a lot of new pieces, are going to be a challenger in the SEC.
Three-pointers the story so far in this semifinal. Illinois State just 1 for 7 from beyond the arc. Boise State, however, 5 for 6.
Yeah, and I talked to Illinois State head coach Dan Muller right before the game and asked him what he was concerned about. He said the key to this game for him is if they gave up 10 or more three-point shots, they have no shot at winning. Boise State halfway to that number.
Yeah, that's a tall task against a Boise team that loves to fire from distance. Senkfelder on cue, his 4th triple of the day.
Yeah, you can't guard this Boise State team in a 2-3 zone. They are too lethal. Mentioned earlier, they have 5 guys who shoot 40% or better from the three-point line.
Yarborough short, another rebound for Hutchison. And Jessup gets fouled along the baseline.
Rich, if the Redbirds are going to be content with shooting jump shots on the offensive end against this Boise State team, they have no shot at winning this game.
Well, we saw South Carolina earlier today reverse field from their poor performance in game 1. Boise State is coming out guns a-blazing so far. The left-handed Jessup knocks down the first free throw.
Much like South Carolina, their intensity on their cuts and their movements is at a much higher level than it was yesterday.
This is a Boise program that's always lived in the shadows of the football team. Always so much success, starting with Chris Peterson and continuing on now. All of a sudden, Leon Rice, in his time there, 8th season at Boise, he has 5 straight 20-win seasons, 6 out of the last 7.
Wow.
That's a program builder.
Assistant coach under Mark Few, so has brought a lot of those Mark Few principles here. Can't quite get the interior players that Mark Few's been able to get, and so he's had to make some adjustments along the way. And as a result, those adjustments have led to a really high percentage three-point shooting team. And as I mentioned, 5 guys, 40% from 3 or better, that can make up for the difference when you don't have big front light guys who can get it done on the interior.
Good closeout by Gassman, preventing Senkfelder from getting another 3 squeezed off, and it's Redbirds basketball.
And that's what the Redbirds are going to have to do. They're going to have to run this Boise State team off of the three-point line and force them to take challenged and tough twos. This 2-3 zone of Boise State has lulled this Illinois State team into taking jump shots, and they have not been able to make them.
That one was early in the shot clock, and it was too strong. Hutchison, straight line drive, got the bump. Basketball fans, you can tip off your weekend with another NBA doubleheader on ESPN. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Spurs at 8 Eastern. Then the Pelicans visit Denver to take on Fonz's former team in the Nuggets. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown Friday at 7 Eastern. Big story in the NBA right now isn't any of those teams. It's the Boston Celtics, who've won 14 straight. And I don't know how they did it, Fonz. I didn't watch the game, but they somehow held Golden State to under 100 points.
That's just mind-boggling when you think of how explosive that Golden State offense is. I didn't get a chance to see the game either, but I'll tell you, Boston's done a great job, and I didn't think that was going to be a good move early with bringing a collegiate coach to a professional team. But Danny Ainge did a great job of really getting rid of a lot of the veteran players who you knew he would have issues with, and just brought in a whole bunch of young talent who they would have the respect of, and that's really paid huge dividends for this Boston Celtics team. I did not foresee Brad Stevens being the type of NBA coach that he is. Kudos to him, because he's done a tremendous job in our league.
You talk to a lot of NBA insiders, they'll say he is on the short list of best coaches in the NBA right now.
Their record proves it.
Yeah, and that's without Gordon Hayward. Under 10 minutes to go. Boise State hot shooting out to a big lead on Illinois State. And we've got a whistle on the floor.
Another jump shot though, Rich. Illinois State's got to get something going downhill. And that's increasingly more difficult with Malik Yarbrough over there on the bench.
Alexis Williams checks back in. Justinian Jessup to the bench. Boise in the midst of a 9-0 run. Here's the freshman Taylor Bruniga. Got it blocked. Did he step out of bounds? Looks like it's going to stay Illinois State basketball with 21 on the shot clock.
I don't think Zach Haney, number 11 in white at 6'11", gets enough credit for how well he moves his feet. Did a really nice job of moving his feet and preventing what would have been an easy layup.
Here's Hine. Good take by Matt Hine. Spot starter yesterday, comes in now and contributes.
He's giving them some good minutes. The issue is can they get consecutive stops and some baskets to climb back in this game?
And an offensive foul. A rare opportunity for back-to-back buckets from the Redbirds.
This is his plenty of time here, Rich, in this first half, but they've got to put consecutive stops together, make baskets on the other end, and if they can get it to 10 or just under 10 here before we get to half, it changes the complexion of this game.
They don't have much of an inside presence right now with Fain and Yarborough on the bench. Might be on the shoulders of that man, number 3, Keyshawn Evans. Offensive rebound and a fresh 30 for the Redbirds. Evans lost control under the hoop. Here's Gassman, too strong.
And look who it was getting out from underneath the basket, challenging that shot, but 6'11", Zach Haney.
Here's Hutchison, sensed a mismatch, leaves it off for Haney, who missed the jam but got fouled. Chandler Hutchison is gobbling up rebounds and being super aggressive on the offensive end.
Yeah, what's happening is Illinois State doesn't have anyone on the floor right now that can contain his dribble drive, and once he gets downhill, if you can't get there on time or early, now he's tall enough to be able to see over the defense and make pinpoint passes. That was a really good play there by Hutchison.
Zach Haney at the line, a 6'11" redshirt junior out of Humble, Texas. 7 points, 8 rebounds yesterday against UTEP.
Zach Haney, the most skilled big on this Bronco team. Best offensive threat on the low box. Got a sweet little right baby hook over that left shoulder. Really uses both hands well in that painted area around the rim. This 2-3 zone of Boise State has really stymied the offensive attack of Illinois State.
You're watching semifinal action from the Puerto Rico tip-off in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Rich Hollenberg, LaFonso Ellis, and the rest of our ESPN2 crew. The winner of this game between Boise State and Illinois State advances to the championship game. They'll face the winner of Iowa State Tulsa coming up later on today. Here's Hutchison. No, and Keyshawn Evans grabs the loose ball, but it's going to be a whistle on the play. The foul is going to be on Haney, and we're going to take a timeout with under 8 minutes to go. And Boise State, hot shooting, out to a 20-point advantage over the Redbirds.
This team has been lights out from the perimeter, able to knock down some wide open three-point shots. You give Boise State those kind of looks, they will drill you as they do now.
Coming up on college football Saturday on ABC, Saturday at noon, the hottest team in college football, the Miami Hurricanes, looking to remain undefeated as they take on the Virginia Cavaliers. It's the Canes and the Cavs, also streaming live on the ESPN app. From inside the HTC Center alongside LaFonso Ellis, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Very clean game in this first semifinal. Only 3 turnovers combined between the two teams. So the question becomes, who's going to get the turnover chain? Turnover chain. Turnover chain. Turnover chain.
I have bad
we give it to Bonds right now.
Come on, man. I'm a Notre Dame guy, man. And thank you for not reading that fresh off the thrashing of Notre Dame yet again.
Yeah, they got drilled. They got drilled.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
But this is the Hurricanes turnover chain in football.
Yes.
The turnover chain could be a key in this game between Boise State and Illinois.
Certainly could be a key, and yet from the outset we said in order for Illinois State to have a chance in this game, they could not allow Boise State to get open looks from 3. Boise State is 6 of 9 from the three-point line, and that's really been the story here early, and Hutchison has helped. He's off to a tremendous start.
And so is that young man you just saw, Christian Senkfelder, on the bench right now. He has 4 triples, 13 points. Another one of those grad transfers we talk about making an immediate impact with their new team.
Rich, I tell you what, another thing that's taking place for Boise State is we talk about their crisp offensive execution. Their bigs are doing a tremendous job of getting a lot of meat on those screens, and when you can do that, it creates confusion, which creates separation, and now it allows guys like Hutchison to be able to turn downhill, and once he gets a head of steam going downhill, he is nearly impossible to stop.
Hutchison with 11 points. Misses that first free throw. Very efficient so far. 12 minutes played, 11 points, 6 rebounds.
And if we had one word to describe him, it would be versatile. And that versatility has been on full display here in the first half.
Big reason why he's the preseason player of the year in the Mountain West Conference.
Rich, Illinois State's got to screen this 2-3 zone or get behind it. That ball's got to get to that free throw line area or the short corner area. They've been content with just letting it fly from 3, and that's not been a good formula for them here early.
Air ball on the corner 3 with time running down on the shot clock. Here's Hobbs from the left side. Another 3 ball, this time it's off, and Phil Fain grabs the rebound. I'd have to think they want to get Fain a touch here. Cross pass, Gassman, no. And Hutchison snares another rebound. That's 7 for him. Jump stop, offensive foul committed by Alex Hobbs. And he can't believe it.
You know what, Rich? I actually don't mind the call because that was the one thing that frustrated me when I joined ESPN doing college basketball 9 years ago is all of a sudden the defensive player is sliding his feet and the offensive player goes into the defensive player's cylinder. I've always thought it should have been an offensive foul, and now because of the new rules, more of those fouls are being called. I know he didn't quite have his feet set, but I thought the offensive player went into his space. I thought that was a good call by the official.
Phil Fain getting frustrated in this offense, working against the 2-3 zone. He finally gets it, and he makes the most of his opportunity.
And Rich, that's what we've been talking about all afternoon long for Illinois State. Don't just let it cast from the three-point line. Get into the gaps of that defense, and then you can make some plays. What a good read on the interior. Phil Fain taking that thing strong.
Patience paid off for the left-hander Phil Fain. 6'9" junior out of Elk Grove, California, completes the three-point play. He has 4, but it's still a 34-18 lead for Boise State.
Illinois State needs a couple more stops and a couple baskets on the other end to try to make this thing a game. They've got to run Boise State off that three-point line.
Wacker no good from close range. Here come the Redbirds. And Jerron Martin, the backup point guard, controlling things. Fain, high post. Off on the jumper. Might have settled for that one.
He did.
8 rebounds now for Hutchison, working on a double-double in the first half. And David Wacker, the 6'10" junior out of Converse, Texas, will go to the line and shoot 2.
David Wacker dealt with a stress reaction in his foot last year, but still started 28 of the 29 games he played. Workhorse, high-energy guy, scores up drop-offs and putbacks, but the one thing I love about him, high IQ guy. How about your center knowing all the plays from every single position on the floor?
It sounds like a quarterback to me.
It does.
Chandler Hutchison will take a seat on the bench. 5:37 to go in the first half. He has 12 points and 9 rebounds. Quite the turnaround from a frustrating afternoon yesterday.
Yeah, he had an aggressive mindset from the very beginning as this game tipped. It helped that he didn't have to play against much zone early on. UTEP in that 1-3-1 zone really did a nice job of crowding his space, keeping him from the dribble drive.
Illinois State never trailed in their quarterfinal win against South Carolina. They're getting doubled up right now, 36-18 by the Boise State Broncos. Williams hesitated. Alexis Williams off to the left, and we have a foul on the floor. It's going to go on Illinois State.
Well, Illinois State was cross-matched in that transition game there. Had Deron Martin, who's only 6 feet tall inside with Zach Haney. And so when the shot goes up, Haney did exactly what a big should do. Just push the little smaller guard underneath, and on the reaction trying to keep him away from the basketball, fouled him. Good call by the official.
Rounding out on the first free throw attempt from Zach Haney. And he misses both. Counting down to 5 minutes to go in the first half. All Boise State looking to advance to the championship game in the Puerto Rico tip-off.
Got to get to the hole.
Left? No.
Missed the shot, but I like the fact that he attacked the rack.
Here's Jessup. And he traveled. Justinian Jessup got a little too close to that baseline for anything good to happen.
Was a really nice job by Illinois State bringing 2 or 3 guys in his area, though, to take away his vision for the shot and the extra pass. Illinois State has guys open along that baseline. That ball's got to get to that middle or that baseline area.
Redbirds struggling to score without Malik Yarborough on the floor. Gassman rushed that three-pointer. Hobbs somehow found a way to the hole and got fouled. When we come back, Alex Hobbs will go to the line looking for his first 2 points of the afternoon. Boise State rolling over Illinois State. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter. And by Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly. Apparently Dallin Cuff, as much as we love him, doesn't watch a lot of college football. He texted me and asked me what that gold chain was that I was handed to you. That's the turnover chain, man. Here's a look at your AP Top 10 as it stands right now. Of course, the Champions Classic was so dynamite. You saw some of those teams there. Duke is undefeated. Michigan State with those sensational sophomores led by Miles Bridges. What do you think so far of the early top 10?
Well, there have been some great games being played already, but a team that I like that I don't think, I know they're in the top 10, but they're not getting as much notice is really Florida. I love Chris Chiozza, a guy who played more of a reserve role last year, but his ability to, at the point guard position to be able to push the basketball in transition to create offense for himself and his teammates could be a huge factor for Florida, known as a defensive-minded team, but I think they'll be better offensively this year. He and Kevon Allen make one of the most formidable backcourts in all of college basketball.
Well, I called out Dallin Cuff, and apparently he wants to respond on national TV. Dallin, are you with us?
Rich, I have to. I think in my text, I don't want to quote it directly. I did say turnover chain.
Oh, okay. It was the turnover chain, and right now Illinois State's getting drilled, but they haven't committed one turnover in this game.
And notice, Dallin, the fraternity of color guys over here. Notice I didn't respond negatively. It's always these play-by-plays, man.
38-18, 3:41 to go.
Dallin Cuff, one of our young, very talented analysts, doing a great job in the studio. I actually watched the college basketball live with one of my favorite coaches, TC Tom Green. Those guys did a wonderful job yesterday. I got to get me some Chris Cotter glasses, though, man. I lost mine. See you in the studio soon, buddy.
Here's Hutchison. Hobbs called for the traveling violation, tried for the Euro step. didn't get away with it.
I thought Illinois State did a great job of keeping that basketball on one side of the floor. That's how Boise State gets you, is they get down into the gaps and draw defenders from the weak side of the floor, which opens you up to 3 bombs from that weak side. Now Illinois State's got to get some buckets, but they've got to get something going to the rim because they've not had success from 3, 1 of 17 in this game so far from the 3-point line.
Hobbs, left hand, no. The follow, yes. Alex Hobbs with an and one opportunity came into this game 22 of 30 from the field.
Rick, that's why I love the transition game so much. You find those defensive players really on their heels in retreat, and it allows you to be able to get to the front of the rim, and oftentimes if you can just get it up near the rim, your teammates can come in and offensive rebound the basketball, but not that time. Hobbs very quickly recognizing that he had missed that shot and a quick reaction to get that basketball up and in.
Malik Yarborough saddled with foul trouble on the bench. They're going to need him in a big way in the second half if they want to mount a comeback against this Boise State team. And that ball goes out of bounds, an unforced error, uncharacteristic.
Yeah, and another settled jump shot from Fain there at that right elbow. He's got to get to the rim.
Fonzie mentioned Illinois State, 1 for 17 from 3. They're 1 for their last 12, regardless of where they're shooting the rock.
The majority of those have been jump shots.
Well, you live by the 2-3, you die by the 2-3. It's what won them the game yesterday against South Carolina. It's what they're struggling so mightily against today against Boise State's 2-3 zone. 3 on the shot clock. Williams. The floater won't go. Here's Hutchison in transition. Nice bounce pass. And the foul's going to go on Luke Litweiler. And David Wacker will go to the line off a pretty feed by Hutchison.
Watch in this case, folks, as he's coming off of this screen here. Again, their bigs do a terrific job, Boise State, of holding the screen for a longer period of time, because now you want to create confusion and or separation, and they were able to do that. And now you get that big fella rolling down the lane, David Wacker. He is difficult to get to if you're not early to absorb that charge. Rotation just a little late there on that possession for the Redbirds.
Boise State used a 13-2 run yesterday to close the gap and beat UTEP to advance to this semifinal game, and they have not slowed down since then. 42 first half points, holding Illinois State to just 19, counting down to 2 minutes to go. There's a turnover. First one of the game for Illinois State. Boise State can't convert, but a foul is called. Well, this rivalry matchup in college football goes all the way back to 1929. We're going out to the West Coast Saturday night on ABC at 8 Eastern. Number 11 USC hosting UCLA at the Coliseum. A couple of NFL-bound quarterbacks, Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold, on the field. The victory bell is once again on the line, and UCLA looking to play the upset card. They've lost the last 2 to USC in that rivalry.
Being able to have a game of that magnitude on your home field gives them a slight advantage, but I still have Sam Darnold and USC winning that one.
A double-double already in the first half for Chandler Hutchison. 14 points to go along with his 10 rebounds. And he slaps the floor on defense for good measure. Leon Rice's team seems completely engaged at this point.
Part of it has been with Malik Yarborough getting in foul trouble for Illinois State. The offense has been completely discombobulated.
Here's Williams. Hutchison went down. That's a bad sight for Boise State fans. Slow to get up. He was grabbing his right ankle, and he's limping on his way back to defense. Williams knocks down the 3. And we'll have a timeout called, and the training staff will be attending to Chandler Hutchison immediately. A timeout on the floor with 1:14 to go in the first half, and everything going right for Boise State. A 22-point lead, except everyone's holding their breath right now.
Stepped on his foot a little bit there. Yeah. It's the left foot there. Hard to fully see it because I actually thought it was his left right here. Stepped on top of there a little bit, but then his right ankle kind of gave a little bit on the inside.
So Chandler Hutchison on the bench, showing the training staff his right ankle. Obviously not headed to the trainer's room. That's a good sign for Broncos faithful. We have 1 minute to go in the first half. It's been all Boise State looking to advance to the Puerto Rico tip-off championship game.
Good skip.
5 to shoot. Here's Hobbs. And an offensive foul called on Boise State.
Oftentimes, Rich, it's your ability on the weak side to recognize a play taking place and getting yourself to a spot early. That was a terrific job there by Illinois State getting there early.
Deep three by Madison Williams, no good. Hobbs the weak side rebound with 30 seconds to go in the half.
Those won't get you back in the game.
Hobbs slashes through, leaves it off for Wacker. Pretty assist from Alex Hobbs. Illinois State's going to have to find an answer in the locker room. They trail big time to the Boise State Broncos, who look every bit like a team looking for a championship here in Myrtle Beach. They lead at 46-22 at the break. Well, it's been a dominating half offensively for Boise State. 12 for 26 from the field, 50% from beyond the arc.
Well, one of the issues coming into this game is they were concerned, Illinois State, about the ability of Boise State to knock down threes. They have 6 in this game so far.
Chandler Hutchison, the Wooden Award candidate, leading the way. Now we go to Chris Cotter and the guys in the studio.
You're watching Feast Week, presented by Lowe's, and we are back in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for the semifinal of the Puerto Rico tip-off. Boise State up big on Illinois State after one half, 46-22. And our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Puerto Rico. We are here in South Carolina instead. LaFonso Ellis, Rich Hollenberg on the campus of Coastal Carolina University. It's called the HTC Center. And we have seen a different Boise State team today than we saw yesterday. They escaped against UTEP to advance to the semifinals, and they are on full display offensively against Illinois State today.
Well, part of that has been the play of Chandler Hutchison, their best player, most versatile player on this team. And he went through an NBA evaluation, and they said he needed to become a more consistent three-point shooter. Look at the balance and the follow-through on those threes. And then secondly, he had to develop that left hand. Folks, watch this killer crossover to the left, to the rim, and the finish. And then finally, he had to continue to put on some muscle and add strength. How about these drives? Look at him drawing the contact and still able to finish over the top. Chandler Hutchison getting busy, a double-double already in the first half.
And he will inbounds the ball for Boise State as they take the opening possession of the second half. 20 minutes away from a trip to the championship game in the Puerto Rico tip-off. They'll play the winner of Iowa State and Tulsa, which is coming up later. A turnover on the first offensive possession for the Broncos. Here come the Redbirds. Keyshawn Evans, number 3 in red. Held in check in the first half, just 6 points for Evans. Hobbs with the rebound.
That was a really tough shot by Madison Williams. Should have passed that basketball to the other side of the floor.
Senkfelder had 4 threes in the first half. He misses his first attempt from distance. And it's going to be Illinois State basketball.
What in reality, Fonz, can Illinois State do in the second half to get back in this game?
Well, they're going to have to continue to attack the basket, Rich. They shot so poorly in the first half, 2 of 20 from 3, and many of those threes were coming out of not even reversing the basketball to the weak side of the floor. So they got to run their offense, try to get into the middle of the lane, get to the rim, and then that'll create some easier opportunities as Fain is able to get to his right hand and get to the rim. They need more of that, but right now, consecutive stops on the defensive end and no open threes.
Malik Yarbrough continues to sit for Dan Muller and the Redbirds.
I thought he was in foul trouble in the first half, but he wasn't. Only picked up 1 foul.
Hobbs for 3. That's the 7th three-pointer for the Boise State Broncos. That's their specialty.
Offensive.
That had to be offensive, right?
And that's what we've seen, Rich, with Malik Yarbrough sitting over on the sideline. And I have to say, Dan Muller told me the other day, as talented as he is, if he's not going to guard and get it done on the defensive end, he's going to sit. And I have a feeling he gave up a couple of defensive drives, didn't get on the defensive glass. I think the coach is trying to send a lesson to his very talented young player.
Well, hopefully for Illinois State fans, it's message received. You got to credit Dan Muller, fifth-year head coach for Illinois State, for sticking to his guns, because Malik Yarbrough could be a difference maker in a game like this, but Dan Muller's thinking long-term for this program.
Absolutely, and long-term for his growth. This kid's got a chance to be a pro. I'm not saying in the NBA, but he could go overseas and make a lot of cash. But, you know, I've seen a lot of kids go through the process and their progress stymied by lack of maturity, and Dan Muller wants his young star to grow in that area.
Chandler Hutchison cleaning the glass again for Boise State. Wide open 3, Senkfelder. He's 0 for 2 this half. Fain working on Senkfelder. Left hand, no. Gets his own miss and puts it up and in.
Tell you what, that's the one thing I've learned to enjoy about Phil Fain is he has a really innate sense about when he's going to miss a shot and the quick reaction to go after it and get it. We saw that multiple times yesterday's game.
Haney in the paint. First field goal of the game for Zach Haney. 51-26, Boise State undefeated on the season at 3-0. Looking to advance to the title game on Sunday. They'll face the winner of Iowa State and Tulsa, whoever wins this contest. Good closeout by Williams. Evans, mid-range jumper, no. Another rebound for Chandler Hutchison. Three minutes gone by in the second half. Boise State, who made the farthest trip to get here to South Carolina for the Puerto Rico tip-off, is trying to make the most of this trip.
It's a really nice job by Taylor Bruniga of really holding his position. Watch him anticipate which way Zach Haney's going to go, and he beats it. Wow, nicely done. Oftentimes you feel that little bump, Rich, and you kind of play the man game and don't fall down on the floor, but the one way to sell it is to hit the floor. Nicely done there by Bruniga.
Bruniga in the middle of that offensive zone, trying to bust the 2-3 that Boise State is showing them all game long. Not able to that time.
That's an inside-out look. I'll take that all day, but they've got to knock down some shots. Only 2 of 20 in the first half from 3.
Hobbs gets it to go. Alex Hobbs is having quite the start to the season field goal percentage-wise.
Yes, he is. He's 82% from the field on 18 of 22 field goals coming into the tournament.
Yeah, put it this way. He was 4 for 8 yesterday against UTEP, and his numbers went down. Madison Williams got that too. He has 5 for Illinois State. Hobbs misses from the corner. Evans, little stop and go from Keyshawn.
So pretty. The space created by that ball screen, though, from Bruniga.
Wholesale substitutions on the way for Leon Rice. 3 players at the scorer's table with a timeout coming. Inside, Senkfelder.
Nice pass.
Here comes Evans, leading the charge for Illinois State. A little one-man fast break for Keyshawn Evans. Back-to-back buckets. He's in double digits.
I like it when this team, especially without Yarbrough on the floor, when they're playing fast, any turnovers they get or missed baskets, they've got to push that basketball up the floor and try to get some clean looks.
Hobbs off the curl. Short. Tried to grab his own rebound. And we have a timeout on the floor with 5 minutes gone by in the second half and a 21-point lead for the Boise State Broncos, but Keyshawn Evans trying to bring back the Redbirds.
The top returning scorer on this team, Keyshawn Evans, makes a pretty good shrimp Alfredo too.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter. And the new DQ Western Bacon Cheeseburger $5 lunch. Get it while the getting's good. Well, if Illinois State has any chance of coming back in this game, they're going to need that young man, number 52 in red, Malik Yarbrough, to lead them there. This is his first action since a few minutes into the game. Went to the bench with just one foul, but it wasn't foul trouble that put him there with his head coach, Dan Muller, Fonz.
It wasn't getting after it on the defensive end. Even on that back down by Senkfelder right before he went out of the game, instead of keeping his hands vertically in the air, came down and roofed him, and Dan Muller was hot about that one, which is why he took him out of the game.
Well, to your point, this was the exchange between Malik Yarbrough and his head coach, Dan Muller. And you can imagine what he's saying. You don't D up, you don't play.
And that's exactly what Coach Muller told me on Wednesday. He said as talented as he is, if he's not going to guard on the defensive end, he's going to sit. And that's exactly what took place in the first half.
Jessup, no good on the three. Offensive rebound, Senkfelder, no. And a loose ball, and Ron Groover says foul on the floor. It's going to the Redbirds.
Robin George over the top there of Taylor Bruniga. Tell you what, I've liked the fight in Taylor Bruniga. 6'8", only 200 pounds as a freshman, but he's got a lot of fight in him. He's given up a lot of weight on the interior, but he continues to battle. He's going to need to knock down some three-point shots here for the Redbirds.
Evans forced that three, and Hutchison comes away with another rebound, number 13 on the game for Chandler Hutchison. Nice shot fake and a step back. Pretty. Marcus Dickinson had 4 3-pointers yesterday against UTEP. Knocks down his first triple this afternoon.
3 consecutive ones in that game to open it up the interior for dribble penetration and post feeds.
Here's Hines for 3. Hutchison, another rebound. 14 points, 14 boards for Chandler Hutchison. It's such a pretty offense to watch when they're clicking on all cylinders like they are, Fonz. 16 made field goals, 13 of those have been assisted. And that's what Leon Rice told us as this tournament started. They want to be elite ball movers.
Yeah, Dickinson doing a really nice job after a pass. A nice little shot fake to raise the defender. And how about the sidestep? Who still has the balance. And that's what it's about. When you make that little sidestep, you got to keep your hips low. He did and was able to knock down that 3.
And what you didn't see right before that was the one more pass, as they call it. Passing up a good shot for a better shot.
See if this gets Yarbrough going here.
Right hand, no. And Hobbs brings it back the other way. Hutchison, strong to the hole. Flip shot, no good.
Another rebound for Hutchison.
And here's a 3-ball. Tip back. And a fresh 30 for Boise State. Hobbs surveying. Jessup comes away with it. Baseline, pretty. 7 points now for Justinian Jessup. Talk about Chandler Hutchison cleaning the glass. His career high now, 14 rebounds.
Wow.
Bruniga missed from close range. Hutchison goes right into the teeth of the Illinois State defense and gets the foul as well. Oh, it's an offensive foul
yes, it is.
on Chandler Hutchison.
Yeah, Bruniga yet again giving up his body. We just talked about him at 6'8", 200 pounds. He gives up a lot of weight out there, but he is scrappy and tough. Look at him stepping inside. I actually was wrong. That was actually Matt Hine giving up his body there. He's made some really good plays for the Redbirds today. He's been able to get in and squeeze in a couple little layups and diving on the floor for loose balls. I like what we've seen from Matt Hine.
Deep three off the mark. Jessup gets the rebound. A lot of one-and-dones this afternoon for Illinois State.
A lot of one-pass shots also for Illinois State. Not a good recipe for getting back into this game.
Dribble drive. Hobbs had it tipped away. Evans. He had Hine close to the basket but didn't see him. Bruniga catching fire. Yes. Taylor Bruniga, his first points of the game.
And Rich, we just said that Bruniga's got to be able to knock down some shots here. But every time they force Boise State to either turn the basketball over or miss a shot, they've got to make them pay when they get on the offensive end with a good shot, high percentage shot at the basket.
Hobbs aggressive to the hole, gets fouled, and he will go to the line as well when we come back. Continues to be a Boise State kind of a semifinal. They're up 58-35. Well, the winner of this game between Boise State and Illinois State will play the winner of Iowa State and Tulsa. Both of those teams advanced from the quarterfinals to the semifinals with wins last night. Donovan Jackson leading the way with 26 points for the Cyclones.
And then there's junior E2. They've needed him to get going on the offensive end. He was much more aggressive for Tulsa yesterday, paid huge dividends. He's going to have a night like that tonight in order for his team to advance.
That game will be at 7 Eastern tonight on ESPNU, the Sunday Championship. Fonz and I will be calling that on ESPN2 right here at 7:30 Eastern. Chance to go 3-0 in a tournament against 7 other quality teams.
Yes.
Great way to start your season headed into the holidays.
Especially for a team like an Iowa State who has so many new pieces from coming into this season. Lost a lot of veteran leadership from last season.
Big 12 tournament championship team lost Monte Morris, one of the truly great point guards in college basketball. Jessup with the three. You want to know why Boise State is blowing out Illinois State? How about rebounding edge? 46-21 right now, Fonz.
And Rich, we talked about Yarbrough. I thought in the first couple possessions when he came back on the floor, I thought he was a little passive. He didn't, when he catch that basketball in that free throw line area, he wasn't even looking to make a play. This time he caught that thing, turned around, faced the basket, and saw that he had a mismatch and made an immediate attack to the rim. He's going to have to do that with regularity here. A lot of time left, Rich. 11 minutes left in this game. A lot of time to get back in this. But they've got to be more aggressive getting to the rim and get stops on the defensive end.
And just from an observationist standpoint, yesterday 18 points, 6 rebounds, 6 dimes, and he was smiling the entire game. I haven't seen Malik Yarbrough smile yet in this contest. Body language is a big thing.
It is, and hopefully that'll give him a little confidence. Another thing we heard his voice yesterday.
Here's a little bit of why Malik Yarbrough might not feeling like grinning from ear to ear, because he's getting an earful from his head coach Dan Mullen.
And as a player, I hated it, but you had to have a next play mentality even when it came to constructive criticism from your coach.
Big rebound from Fain. Illinois State trying to claw their way back into it. That's one way to take yourself out of it. Errant pass by Evans, and then the foul on the other end. Well, we're here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Close by in Charleston is the Gildan Charleston Classic taking place. Just about a 2-hour drive from here. Auburn won their first round game, but Temple, led by Quentin Rose, a 14-point win to advance to the Sunday night final on ESPN2.
Fran Dunphy's one of those coaches that you can never count out. Even when you don't think he has a ton of pieces, he finds a way to win basketball games.
Yeah, he is a nightmare to prepare against on a regular basis, but when you don't have a lot of time and it's early in the non-conference schedule, I wouldn't want to see Temple in my bracket.
Nope.
Had them at the NIT tip-off last year in Brooklyn, and they played 2 top 25 teams, Florida State and West Virginia, and they beat them both. Wow.
Heck of a basketball player. Inside, outside, about 6'7", can do it all. Wow.
Jessup, second 3 of the game. He has 13 now.
Coach Dan Muller for Illinois State told me before the game that if Boise State made 10 threes or more, they had no chance in winning this game. And now they're 10 of 20, 50% from the field from 3.
Hobbs, a little too much dribbling. And now everybody on the floor for the 50-50 ball.
Folks, this team wants to be known as elite ball movers and elite passers, and Hutchison doing a really nice job of screening on that little dribble handoff, forcing the defensive player to get hung up. And if you give Boise State that kind of airspace, they're going to rise and shoot. And Justinian Jessup, one of the best on this team at shooting from 3, came into the tournament shooting 60% from 3, and he's continued to be hot throughout.
There's a corner 3 from Bruniga, and another weak side rebound. Goes to number 15, Chandler Hutchison. Had that tweaked ankle in the first half. Doesn't show any ill effects from that. Turned it over there. Phil Fain with the pick. Yarborough. He'll go back to the line and shoot 2. And if there's one thing we've seen from Malik Yarborough in these 2 games that we've witnessed, it's that he is not afraid to take it to the hole.
No, he's not. Terrific and crafty in transition. Excellent pass. I really love what we've seen from him. I feel bad for him that he had to get pulled here early, but one of the things we noticed yesterday that he was dialed in and engaged on the defensive end first, and I think that fueled his offensive explosion. The vision, the handle, post-game threes. This kid's got the entire package.
Well, Malik Yarborough is a player who has basketball in his DNA. His dad, Dell, played and was a star for Illinois State. Unfortunately, Dell passing away this past December had a major impact on Malik Yarborough. He was the reason, of course, why Malik transferred from St. Louis to Normal, Illinois to play for Dan Muller and the Redbirds.
They're both tough on the offensive end, but the difference between the 2, nice pass. The difference between the 2 is his dad always had a scowl and was just a mean basketball player. And yet his son, when he's his normal self, is smiling all the time and enjoying the game.
We're seeing a little bit of that Del Yarborough scowl from Malik right now. Here he is, the late Del Yarborough. Played with the Illinois State Redbirds from 1976 to 1980. Was a 1,000-point scorer. 6th all-time still in field goal percentage. And of course, the history of the Illinois State Redbirds, they play on Doug Collins' court.
Yes.
Dan Muller was a player of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference when he played for them.
Rich history. Pun intended. Malik Yarborough is a perfect person to be able to get that basketball to in the middle of that zone.
There's another rebound for Hutchison. Switches directions, gets swallowed up by Phil Fain and the Redbirds defense. And it's a jump ball. It'll stay Boise State basketball.
And Rich, that's the next area of development for Hutchison's game, is once he makes that first change of direction, now can he stay low on his dribble and make a second one? That's the second time he's gotten caught up there in traffic. He was fortunate not to turn that basketball over.
Hutchison's been stuck on 14 points for a while, but he's collected 18 rebounds, and he also has 5 assists today. Alexis Williams knocks down the open three. Everything working for the Boise State Broncos. 69-40 with 7:45 to go. And Fain along the baseline.
Yeah, we haven't heard his name enough today. They usually like to put him in that elbow side of the free throw line there and allow him to go in isolation situations and getting him touches on the low block. He hasn't had a lot of touches today.
Alexis Williams shakes off Hutchinson. See what he wants to do. No basket foul on the floor. And with 7:19 to go, we'll take a timeout here at the HTC Center. Coming up, we'll talk about getting game ready if you're a Bronco. Thank you, Chris. Chandler Hutchison putting on quite a show, stuffing the stat sheet today with 14 points, 18 rebounds, and 5 assists. And those 18 rebound spawns tied for most in a single game in tournament history.
Well, they must have been getting it on last night, because one of the ways that he likes to relax before a game is playing video games. Here he and his teammates are getting it on in the locker room, not the locker room, in the hotel rather. And that kind of focus and attention to detail has been on full display here for Boise State, especially on the offensive end.
Hutchison out of the timeout, has an and one opportunity.
Seriously, he must have played a lot of video games yesterday. Folks, he told me that his way of relaxing is playing video games, and they must have gotten a nice series in, because he's been in attack mode all day. And again, the NBA scouts wanted to see him go to his left, which was a weakness of his, and we've seen him countless times today attack, going to his left and finishing at the rim.
6 for 7 from the free throw line, make it 7 for 8, 17 points, 18 rebounds for Chandler Hutchison. It's been an MVP type of a day for that young man. Preseason Mountain West Conference MVP. Tried to split the defenders, did Keyshawn Evans, and he turned it over instead. Hutchison, aggressive again, will go back to the line.
Tell you what, he's tough to deal with when he gets a full head of steam. Chandler Hutchison doing it all today, really showing his versatility, attacking off the dribble to his left and right. An area of improvement for him is to be able to knock down the three, which he's done, and any rebound that's been in the area, whether it be the offensive end or the defensive end. Number 15 of White has been there to gobble them up. He's had an MVP type of day today.
Elite athleticism from Chandler Hutchison. And it's something that Boise State prides itself on, right? Player development. They might not get 4 or 5 star recruits, but they'll get 3 and 4 star recruits and develop them through this system, and they'll turn out better than when they arrived at Boise. And Leon Rice is a terrific head coach, but he gives a lot of that credit to his associate head coach, Phil Beckner, who started his career at Weber State with a pro you might know, Damian Lillard.
Dame
and
Dollar.
he helped develop Dame into the NBA All-Star that he is today.
And Rich, you can see a lot of that development on display there. And there he is. And he spends a lot of time, even before the games, working on the details, pivoting, spinning, passing. And you can see oftentimes when this team is on the dribble drive, they'll jump to a jump stop and then pivot out of that thing to make a pass, and that comes with reps.
Oh, what a tip. Look out. Cam Kristen went up high for that rebound and came back hard on the floor. And it looks like he's going to be okay. What unbelievable jumping ability from Cam Kristen, number 1, a 6'6" freshman out of Allen, Texas, and he'll go to the line and shoot too. Amazing that he's going to be able to shoot his own free throws. Take a look.
He came down hard. Ow. Oof. Right on small on the back too. Those are painful.
You felt that one over here.
Yes. Wow.
Jim got awfully silent watching that fall. Kristen steps up and knocks down the first free throw. Good for him.
Freshmen from Allen High School in Texas, really learning a lot from Hutchinson while pushing to try to get playing time. They consider him a smaller version.
Yeah, Leon Rice called him a mini Chandler Hutchinson.
Driver, good finisher. Saw how athletic this kid is.
Going back to Phil Beckner, the associate head coach who's so great at player development, we got to spend some time with this Boise State program, and I like the way that Leon Rice runs the program. It's like the CEO. He doesn't have to be involved in every single play and every single coaching move. He lets Phil Beckner run a lot of the practice, and the players respond. They have a healthy respect for the coaching staff, and they know that ultimately the man in charge is that man that you just saw, Leon Rice.
Yeah, I love when coaches, head coaches particularly, place a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of their assistant coaches, because in doing so, they're grooming them to be head coaches themselves. I love that.
Yeah, you got to be able to delegate. $75-42. There's the brain trust. Leon Rice on the right, Phil Beckner on the left. And what's even more impressive is this is only Beckner's second season with Boise State. A lot of times you develop a rapport from years and years of being with each other, but Leon Rice in his 8th season in Boise thought so highly of Phil Beckner that he brought him in, saw a great opportunity to continue this culture of player development, and it's been a perfect fit.
When we went to practice on Wednesday, it was Beckner's voice that you heard the entire hour of practice. Shows the amount of credibility and respect that his head coach and the kids have for him.
Nice look, Evans to Fain.
Tell you what, I like Evans's speed and his ability to be able to read situations there. Saw that the big came to help inside and threw that thing quickly back to Fain. Fain so good at finishing around the rim.
Loose ball, foul on the floor. That foul is going to be on Luke Litweiler, freshman number 30, out of Hopedale, Illinois. Well, you can tip off your weekend with another NBA doubleheader on ESPN. Russ, Carmelo, and Paul George leading OKC against the Spurs at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then it's Boogie and the Brow taking on Denver in Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado. That's the Pelicans coming to town to take on the Nuggets. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown Friday at 7 Eastern.
I wasn't sure that combination of the Brow and Boogie Cousins was going to work well, but, you know, except for some bumps that they had early in the season, they're really starting to gel well. And Anthony Davis, I think, has been a trooper with kind of leaning away from the leadership position as Madison Williams knocks down that three and allowing Boogie Cousins' voice to lead that team. And they've had some nice success here early.
Well, both of those guys, I look at them as kind of the 2.0 prototype of an NBA player. They're both elite in terms of their size, but they're also elite in terms of their athleticism. I mean, Boogie Cousins could get a triple-double on any given night.
I'm amazed at his handle.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis was a point guard in high school before he had a growth spurt. That is a pick-your-poison team, right?
Yes.
Evans from the corner knocks it down.
I think in the offseason, New Orleans is going to go out and try to find some shooters to put around those two studs, because you can't guard either of them one-on-one.
Coming up on 4 minutes to go. It's been all Boise State. Illinois State led 2-0 to start this game. Ever since then, they've been looking at a freight train in the Broncos. It's a nice layup from Keyshawn Evans. Back-to-back buckets gives him 15.
I'm impressed with his ability, once he sees daylight, to explode through the gap. He has really good feel and instincts out there on the floor.
Inside, Wacker getting a lot of playing time.
Madison Williams is 6'3", coming over and blocking that shot.
Deep three. Count it from Madison Williams. He has 3 triples on the afternoon, 11 for him. And it's 77-56 with 3:15 to go. Well, it sounds cliche, Fonz, but I'll say it anyway. Illinois State has tasted the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat in consecutive days here in Myrtle Beach.
They've had to go long spells with their best player on the bench, Malik Yarborough, number 52. But they've continued to fight.
And it should be noted that they really only have 8 healthy rotation players that are here playing right now. They've been beset by injuries, most notably their big guy, 7-foot junior David Njai, who didn't even make the trip to Myrtle Beach because of a stress fracture in his foot. But they are battling. There's no quit in this team, and they're on a 14-0 run right now.
Yeah, Swedish freshman Elijah Clarence is out. Had to deal with a lot.
Here's Evans. Again!
They want to get a timeout here.
21 for Keyshawn Evans. 3 3-pointers in the second half. Don't look now, but 2 minutes left, and it's a 15-point game. This is as close as the Redbirds have been pretty much all game.
Yeah, and Coach Leon Rice is upset with his crew because he wants them to milk more clock. He felt like they were shooting too soon.
Well, Leon Rice urging his team to keep the pedal to the metal. But Illinois State trying to mount a comeback. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Visit Myrtle Beach. Go to visitmyrtlebeach.com to plan your vacation. By Gildan, love your dad, but don't wear his underwear. Gildan, every thread counts. And by Slim Jim, snap into a Slim Jim. Our hearts, our prayers, our thoughts are with the great people of Puerto Rico, from San Juan, where the Puerto Rico tip-off was held, to Fajardo, where we were planning on being for this Puerto Rico tip-off this year. They have been ravaged by not one but 2 Category 4 hurricanes. They are still in desperate need of help. So many without power, so many without food, schools, work. They need all the help and all the prayers, and certainly everybody here in Myrtle Beach has been so wonderful in making their donations for the wonderful people in Puerto Rico, and we want to send along our best to everybody over there right now. We miss you. We want to come back, and hopefully next year we will be. There's a whistle off the inbounds with 1:53 to go. Boise State trying to close this one out and advance to the finals, but Illinois State doesn't want to go quietly.
Yeah, they continue to battle, and we talked about that yesterday. This the fight and the toughness of this Illinois Redbird team. I'm so impressed with their effort.
A 17-0 run has given them at least a glimmer of hope. And Marcus Dickinson ends that 17-0 run with that free throw. Those free throws go. Looks like Chandler Hutchinson's day is done with ice on his left knee. A man's double-double today with 14 points and 18 rebounds.
He deserves that ice bath, massage. He's put in some work today.
And some video games tonight, for sure. They have a day off tomorrow to relax and rest up.
What do you like to do to prepare for a game? How do you relax going into the game, Rich?
You know, that's a good question. I usually like to get here early, just kind of soak up the squeaking of the sneakers.
Understood.
The music inside the gym. Myrtle Beach has been doing a great job in the HTC Center. A lot of 80s rock.
Yes.
That suits us both well.
I know. Hit some Poison earlier. Love it.
Some Twisted Sister as well.
Come on there. Because we're not going to take it.
Yeah. Now, we know Michael and Jamel, they're more 80s hip-hop people.
Right.
But tonight on SportsCenter at 6, they're going to be talking about the Thunder keeping up their winning ways They're going to be taking on the San Antonio Spurs coming up later. And a closer look at the collapse of the 5-8 Clippers heading into their matchup with the struggling Cavaliers led by LeBron James. That's coming up on SportsCenter at 6 with Michael and Jamil.
How much of a difference do you think Isaiah Thomas is going to make for the Cleveland Cavaliers when they come back?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, this is a team, early on, obviously you heard LeBron say all the things you would expect him to say. Oh, it's October. Last time I checked, the NBA playoffs don't start until the springtime.
Yeah.
But I think it's a real issue right now. Then it's going to be a transition period once IT comes back, because those two have never played together.
Exactly. And what's funny about it is when they were saying that there was no concern, they weren't getting it done on the defensive end. It'd be one thing if they just couldn't score, but they weren't guarding. That's a completely different deal. A little timing error here. Yeah, timing error.
We're back underway. Under a minute to go. Boise State looking to advance to the Puerto Rico tip-off finals. The winner facing Iowa State Tulsa winner. That's coming up later, with a chance to set up a exciting matchup on Sunday night in the title game. 7 on the shot clock. They swing it around to Williams. And Lexus Williams has his third 3 of the evening.
He was 0 for 4 coming into this tournament, but he looks confident and comfortable knocking that 3 down today.
And the shot clock is off. 20 seconds left in this one. Boise State will remain undefeated, 4-0 on the season and 2-0 here in Myrtle Beach in the Puerto Rico tip-off. They had to use a 13-2 run against UTEP to secure a victory in the quarterfinals. They have been dominant this afternoon against the Illinois State Redbirds, winning by 18, 84-62 is your final. So now a day off for the Broncos as they await the winner of Iowa State and Tulsa, and that will be the matchup in the other semifinal coming up. So Boise State advances tonight at 5 on ESPNU. You'll have the Iowa State-Tulsa semifinal. But now stay tuned for Nito ATP Finals live from London.